Welcome to the latest episode of KapVista Klips. Today I am here with Chris from EnviroGraze. How are you?
G'day, Daniel. Nice to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I want to jump in and get straight into it because I want to understand, EnviroGraze and what you're doing and the wonderful world of ag tech. But first, let's start with you and the founding team. Tell us about you. Tell us about your background and what brought you here and the people behind the company.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We started in this industry back 9 years ago, and we started from a manufacturing standpoint. So we built these hydroponic systems for farmers that were experiencing drought and also having lack of feed through the wintertime. And we built them both in Australia and internationally. And that gave us a really good opportunity to see what impact this fresh sprouted barley product had on the livestock. And it really started back then and then developed into, after seeing that, we thought, well, hang on, we're probably in the wrong business here. We probably need to be in a business where we're creating this product and then selling it on as a finished product to the client base rather than building a system and making a one-off commission. So that's how we started in it. And the reason that we're still in it today is for one reason and one reason only, and that is we've firsthand got to see the enormous impact that it has on all livestock that actually are lucky enough to be able to eat it.
Brilliant. So tell me about your background. Tell me about your experience.
Prior to being involved in this, I have been involved in a number of different businesses. So you might say, a serial entrepreneur. I've been involved in telecommunications. We're one of the pioneers in prepaid telecommunication in Australia, and actually launched the first of the prepaid mobile phone cards for Vodafone through the retail network that we manage. So I sort of understand the retail side of it and fast moving consumer goods, if you like, and that led to other investments in hotels in Sydney. Like we owned a hotel in Sydney at one point, and spent a little bit of time working on an e-commerce business. So my background is fairly broad. It's not necessarily in agriculture.
Okay. And then your co-founders, the people behind the team.
Well, we've got some very good people. My wife is involved. She is the brains behind the management of the staff. She's got a lot more patience, for one word, than myself when it comes to working with the staff and managing the staff. So she's very good at that. She's also been very hands-on with me when it comes to understanding how to grow our product, which is highly specialized. And she's one of only a few people on the planet that understand it at the very high level. We've also been lucky enough to have join us Hamish Thompson as chairman of our group, who is an ex-senior member of the Mars Corporation team. And I believe that Mars Corporation are the fourth largest individually owned company or privately owned company in the world. So Hamish has seen some exciting things in what we're doing, and as a result, he sees a chance to scale this and turn it into something that would be desirable to be purchased by other businesses in a few years' time. So he's on board. We've just also brought on board Dr. Helen Fitton as our head of science, and she's absolutely brilliant when it comes to this particular space. She understands, she understands seaweed particularly, but also which leads into a product like ours when it comes to our play here, which is really methane reduction. So we brought her on board, and we've also brought on board a gentleman who we believe, Anthony Owen, who we believe that can assist us in making sure from a capital point of view that we're structured correctly, and we'll head up investor liaison and to make sure that we're keeping everybody informed and up to date with what's happening.
Brilliant, brilliant. So you've got a strong team behind you, serial entrepreneurs. You've taken things to market. You've been successful in the past, and now you've built an incredible. Well, tell us about the technology. Tell us about the product.
The technology is the exciting part because over the period of time that we've in the last 9 years that we've developed this, we've been able to grow a product that is second to none in the marketplace. And one of the exciting things about it is that in our testing, we've been able to develop what is most possibly the most nutritious product that you can feed to any animal, and the impact on it is instant. So within 2 weeks, we can see substantial changes in the animal, and we can measure that through how they look, their weight gain. We can see it through blood work in horses, and we can see it through their performances when we're talking about equine, comparing past performance to what's happened post that, and it's quite astounding the difference it makes.
Amazing, amazing. So, I mean, this has come up recently. Obviously, there's been a lot of news around the US and the tariffs that they've placed, and one of the big issues is Australia exports 400,000 ton of beef to the US, and from an international standpoint, people who don't know about the community, Australia produces some of the best cattle. Arguably the best. We are the best. And they were saying, well, why is so much beef coming from Australia? And it's because of technology like what you've produced that are making our cattle so much better.
Well, that's one reason. Another reason is that the majority of our animals, for the bulk of their life, are grass fed.
Yeah.
And if anyone's looked into the difference between grass-fed and grain-fed from a human consumption standpoint, it's a far superior product. So it's little wonder that McDonald's, who are looking to have the best quality beef patties they can have, would look to import Australian beef to add to the local product. So as they've got a product they can call local, but have that really good nutritional profile in there to create a really strong product. The exciting part about what we're doing is that we have the ability to set up and to create our product locally in any country, so as we can be extremely competitive and cost effective in somewhere like the US, regardless of tariffs, because we're not actually importing anything. So we have the ability to set up, put together something similar to what we're doing here, and then distribute through the US without having to worry about tariffs or ever being restricted in trade in any way.
Yeah, and then there's a global demand for your product anyway. So tell us about the milestones that you've achieved, because you've got a partnership that's about to be rolled out, and there's demand for your product. So walk us through that.
Well, I'll go back one step first and tell you that back in 2017, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it does step into some areas of IP and things that we don't really want out there yet. We did a study at the University of New England in Tamworth in Australia, or Armidale, I should say. And that study showed us that there was a significant reduction in methane when cattle were fed our product versus a feedlot diet. Now, in 2017 was the start of the discussion, and really no one knew much about what that meant. But today, when we've now got governments around the world that are now mandating reductions in methane, and they're pinpointing cattle as one of the major contributors, that made us turn around and say, hang on, we need to look at this now. But we had two choices in doing that. One was to build systems for farmers all over the world, which we felt was an extremely hard thing to do, because you need to have building teams that can be deployed, and you've got to oversee quality control. And then do farmers really want to outlay, millions of dollars to feed large herd sizes and whatnot, and I think they don't. So what we did is we developed a pelletized version of our product that retains all of the good stuff, but can be scaled to be distributed almost anywhere in the world. So we took a step sideways, looked at what we were doing, looked at the regulatory opportunity that this had created, and then said, you know what, we can do this differently. And here we are today as a result.
Amazing. So then, tell us about the partnerships, because you do have a distributor set up. You have, there's demand for the product. Not just domestically, but there is demand globally.
There is. We've had, without even telling people what we're doing, we've had inquiries from numerous countries and throughout Europe and the United States about partnering with us, setting up with us. When we get to the point where we're ready to roll out, we've got a partnership in Australia with a major cooperative retail chain that has agreed to stock, firstly, an equine product, but that will lead into an expanded brand of equine and also potentially a dairy product as well once we prove our worth through those stores. And that will also assist us to get into a lot more of the, what is nearly 2,000 stores that are selling the products that we will have throughout Australia. And then once we have established ourselves here and we're happy with that, then we will immediately expand into some of the larger markets and international markets that can certainly benefit from what we do.
Yeah, amazing. And then tell us about the capital raise. How much you're raising? What's the use of funds for? And the momentum around it, because this is a very special offering.
Yeah, well, we're currently raising 4.5 million USD,
mm-hmm.
and we're going to use that to establish our brand in Australasia as the first starting point, but then to also expand into other countries. The US is high on our list, mainly due to the number of cattle that are there, and also I think we'll get very good acceptance there because we think that our feed might be a step up from what they're currently doing there, and that could potentially create a whole new category of beef, if you like, that may even see the farmers getting a premium price compared to what they're currently getting. So so international expansion is definitely on our and that's either going to be by us setting up in those countries, or in some scenarios entering into licensing agreements to roll it out into areas that we have partners that are suitable to make that happen.
Amazing. This is I've been doing a bit of research into the ag tech space, and there is a growing demand for this space. I mean, in what you're doing, the methane reduction, a lot of governments on the planet are looking how to reduce their carbon footprint. This is a massive step, and you've got proven results. You've got you can this is the option that they need, and like you said, that governments are moving in that direction to mandate it.
Well, the time is right for it, and there's the winds of change are behind us in terms of timing of doing this. And the other exciting thing is that this also enables us to create carbon credits and enter into an arrangement with ranchers and farmers around the world that will allow them to share in the upside of that. So that potentially can create additional income for those farms that don't operate on large margins. They're not.
No.
They're largely squeezed by the retailers and others. So this will enable them to participate in that. We're not basing our business on carbon credits, but we do think that in the appropriate regions where the governments have supported this type of thing to happen, that will be something that the farmers can share in, and there'll be plenty of upside.
Okay, I mean that's an added bonus, because yes, a lot of farmers, especially the small independent farmers, are struggling. They are going from season to season and barely breaking even. So providing them with the additional revenue stream that is crucial.
Well, particularly dairies too. The dairy farmers, the poor dairy farmers, are copping it left, right, and centre. The supermarkets seem to make most of the money in the supply chain, and the poor farmers who do all the work are the ones that are getting the worst return. So hopefully, we can change the balance of that somewhat.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time because this was a great initial discussion. Anybody who's watching this episode who wants to find out more, if you're interested in the ag tech space, if you're interested in EnviroGraze, the product or the investment opportunity, please reach out to my team and we can connect you directly through to Chris. I think this is something special. I mean, we talk about there's so many software companies out there that may be good opportunities, but this is something that's changing the environment. There is a government demand. This is something that's needed, and there is a huge demand globally. So I think this is going to be something special.
Good on you, Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for jumping on. It's great to chat.
Yeah, good seeing you.